Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call us to order at 9:01. We're going to have our land acknowledgement from Trustee Toon.
Oki, welcome to our division office located on the traditional land and territory at the Niitsitapi, Kainai, Piikani, Kainai, and Siksika, the Blackfoot people within the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta.
Thank you, Trustee Toon. I'm just going to take a moment before Canada to acknowledge that we have Trustees Yegas and Long and Mr. Kuzik online due to weather being not drivable. We will now stand for O Canada. Thank you to West Meadows Elementary School for that lovely O Canada. Mr. Feller, if you want, you can join us right up here. All right, moving on to our consent agenda. Recommendation, where's our recommendation on that? That we approve the consent agenda as presented. Oh, sorry, thank you. I know I saw the Granum Solution update on our agenda. So can I get someone to make that motion, please? Trustee Charchin?
Can I have the Granum Advisory Committee pulled from the consent agenda?
Yes, you sure can.
Thank you.
Trustee Charchin, will you also make in that motion?
Sure. I'll make that a motion as amended.
Okay. We'll do that as a discussion item. We will do, yeah, E5. E5. Perfect. Anything else anyone else needs from the consent agenda? All right, all in favor? I cannot see my trustees online, so I guess we'll just do if there's any opposed since we have two trustees online. So any opposed? And trustees online, if you have anything, because I can't see you at all times, just please speak up. Okay, that's approved. Moving on to emergent changes to the agenda. Recommendation that the February 26, 2024 regular board meeting agenda be approved by the Board of Trustees as presented or amended. Can I get someone to make that motion, please? Trustee Poitras? Any emergent changes to the agenda? Seeing none. Any opposed? Passed. Declaration of conflict of interest. Recommendation that the Board of Trustees declare if they have any conflicts of interest relating to the agenda items from the February 26, 2024 board meeting, and if so, should declare them. Hearing and seeing none. Moving on to our action items. E1, Board Policy. Policy Chair Committee, Trustee Gimber will review Board Policy 1, Vision, Mission, Core Values, and Guiding Principles, and 2, Assurance Framework. First recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve Board Policy 1, Vision, Mission, Core Values, and Guiding Principles as presented and amended. Trustee Gimber, were you making that motion? I'll just turn it over to you.
There we go. Okay, so we went through policy 1. There was no changes to make at this time with the exception of some formatting. And we reviewed it as part of our professional development at the organization, or not organizational meeting, at the meeting of the whole. That's it.
Perfect. So the recommendation, the Board of Trustees approve Board Policy 1, Vision, Mission, Core Values, and Guiding Principles as presented. Any opposed? Seeing and hearing none, passed. Recommendation 2, that the Board of Trustees approve Board Policy 2, Assurance Framework as presented or amended. Trustee Gimber, also that motion. Thank you. And I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. So once again, we went over policy 2 at the last planning meeting. The only thing that we came up with in here is to change the 3-year planning to 4-year planning. And we included strategic planning in the list as well of items that the board will review each year. That's everything.
Questions? Trustee Poitras?
Not a question, but I just wanted to make a comment on this being changed from the 3-year to the 4-year. Part of the reason that that was discussed was because trustees now sit for 4 years instead of 3 years, and I think that it will definitely be beneficial to new trustees who are coming in to have that 1 year of finishing off the old trustees and then setting their own vision for the next 3 years. So I think it's really important work that we do reviewing our policies, and this is something that we found in our policies that I think will make a big difference, not only to us, but to future trustees. So just appreciate the work of the policy committee and the attention to reviewing our policies. I think this will be an excellent change.
Thank you, Trustee Poitras. Any other comments, questions? Seeing and hearing none, recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve Board Policy 2 as presented. Any opposed? Seeing none, passed. Moving on to E2, Granum Solutions Committee Terms of Reference. The committee met in February and drafted an update to the Terms of Reference. Committee Chair Trustee Charchin will review the changes with the board. Recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the revised Terms of Reference for the Granum Solutions Committee as presented. Trustee Charchin, you making that motion? You can speak to it.
Yeah, Nikki, are you able to pull that up? Because I can't get into my drive for some reason. Thank you. Looking to make one change in the terms of reference, the 4th bullet from the bottom, from 2 Ward 1 trustees, the board chair, superintendent, and/or delegate, to 3 Ward 1 trustees, the board chair, superintendent, and/or delegate.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Did you have a question? Trustee Gimber, did you have a question?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to remember from the motion that was passed, was it actually 3 Ward 1 trustees or just 3 trustees?
Trustee Poitras?
Yeah, I agree that I think it was changed to just 3 trustees. If we look back at the motion, maybe we could just take a pause and look back at the motion, because I like Trustee Gimber, remember there being a lot of debate around it and conversation before the committee was formed. So I think it is just 3 trustees, if we could just pause.
We'll just pause for a minute here and just make sure we can just double check the motion, because we can amend that as 3 trustees if we need to.
Yes, the motion that was passed was that it was moved that the Board of Trustees, sorry, just one moment, I lost it again. There it is. That the Board of Trustees approve membership for the Granum Solution Committee as 3 trustees, and that was on November 1st.
Perfect, thank you, Nikki. So the terms of reference, Trustee Charchin, did you want it to just read then 3 trustees instead of Ward 1?
Sorry, yes, amend that to 3 trustees, board chair, superintendent, and/or delegate.
Okay. Any, Trustee Poitras?
Yeah, I just wondered if, in the terms of reference, if we should maybe say board chair as ex officio. We do have some committees that it is 2 trustees, one being the board chair, that they actually have to be one of the counted trustees. And so I wonder if it should say 3 trustees, board chair as ex officio, and superintendent and or delegate. Just for clarity, that's just my thoughts, so I'll just leave it out there. I would make that recommendation, but happy to hear what others think.
Okay. Trustee Toon?
Yeah, Trustee Poit just read my mind. I think that with that change, it changes to having quorum of the board as sitting members, and that I don't think is a good thing or the intent of what this change is. So I would support the amendment to add the chair as ex officio.
Thank you, Trustee Toon. Trustee Yegas has her hand up online.
Yeah, when a board chair is ex officio, that means they don't take part in it. They just sit there in order to listen. So you don't have to do that. We don't do that with any of the other policies. So I don't know what the why you would want to put anything about the board chair.
Okay, any other questions or comments around that? Trustee Yegas, were you making that as an amendment, or were you just speaking on behalf of what was said?
Just a minute. I'm trying to see what is said here. What is it? 3
The,
trustees, the board chair as ex. Yeah, okay. So was an amendment made there?
yes, so it was just 3 trustees, the board chair, superintendent, and our delegate, and Trustee Poitras said just to add in the board chair as an ex officio.
Yeah, well, I think if we vote on that, I'm going to vote against it and hope everybody, because there's no point in having the board chair. But if it is an amendment right now, there's no point in making another amendment.
Thank you. Trustee Toon?
I know it's the board chair is de facto ex officio, but I think to clarify this with it being a change, it doesn't hurt to put it in there because we do have committees where they aren't ex officio, but that is clearly stated in those such as audit, so negotiations. So I think that it doesn't hurt to put it in there. It doesn't set a bad precedent to have it in there, and that is a change in practice for what we've currently been doing. So I think that when we added the extra trustees in there in light of this, I think that it doesn't hurt.
Thank you, Trustee Toon. Any other comments, questions? Yes, please. Trustee Poitras, would you like to close?
Yeah, so just to close on the amendment that we're voting on, which is to add as ex officio, I just think it adds clarity, and if anything, when I was a new trustee and hearing from our most recent trustees, more clarity is better. So I think adding as ex officio is just helping out future trustees, which is why I still think it's important to add in there. Like Trustee Toon said, it's a change in practice, but I don't think it would be a terrible thing for all of our terms of reference to state whether the chair is ex officio or not. So, thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Poitras. Oh, sorry. I'm going to call the question. Any opposed? Trustee Yegas is opposed online. Everyone else is fine. It's passed. All right, moving on. Oh, yeah, sorry. We have to vote on the motion now, right? Thank you, Trustee Poitras. So we're back to the motion as amended now. That the Board of Trustees approve the revised terms of reference for the Granum Solution Committee as amended. Any opposed? Seeing none, passed. Moving on to E3, locally developed course renewals. Approval from the board is required for the superintendent's office to move ahead with the renewal of the use of expiring or acquired locally developed courses. Chad Kuzik, Associate Superintendent of Curriculum and Innovation, will review this information. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees confirm for Alberta Education for the 2023-2024 and the 2024-2025 school years that its delegation of authority to the superintendent under the Board Policy 12 in Section 52 of the Education Act applies to the approval of locally developed courses submitted to Alberta Ed. Can I get someone to make that motion, please? Trustee Poitras? Mr. Kuzik, I'll turn that over to you.
Yeah, and basically, thank you, everyone, and good morning. So basically what was said in that statement is what we're requesting. We've done this in years past to be able to provide some flexibility and timeliness of when we go for LDCOM courses and we go for approval to allow Daryl to be that representative to be able to approve those. And we don't have anything on the 23-24 that we've requesting at this time, but I included that on the statement just in case something should come up in the next couple of weeks. We are already in term 2, so it's very unlikely we'll go for any on those time periods. But definitely for next year, looking to get approval today so we can start planning for next year to apply for those LDCOM courses and be able to offer that. So basically, like I stated, the document kind of describes exactly what we're looking for and looking for board approval like we've done in the past. And I can answer any questions if you have at this time regarding that.
Thank you, Mr. Kuzik. Any questions or comments for Mr. Kuzik? Okay, seeing none. So the recommendation is that the Board of Trustees confirm for Alberta Education the 2023-2024 and the 2024-2025 school years that its delegation of authority to the superintendent under Board Policy 12 and Section 52 of the Education Act applies to the approval of locally developed course submitted to the Alberta Ed. Any opposed? Seeing and hearing none, passed. Moving on to E4, recommendation from the Regional School Council Committee. Trustee attendance at ASCA in Edmonton. Each school council is encouraged to send representation to the ASCA AGM in person in Edmonton. Feedback from the previous years indicated that having trustee representation during voting on proposed resolutions and understanding changes that may come about on the floor would be valuable. Because trustee attendance at the AGM alongside school council representatives has been indicated as a desirable support measure, the recommendation that the Board of Trustees approve the registration and travel for the Regional School Council trustees to, or alternates to attend the 2024 ASCA Conference and AGM in Edmonton, April 26 to 28. Trustee Gimber is making that motion. Would you like to speak to it?
Sure, thank you very much. So I think it pretty much says it in the preamble that we did get some feedback from, especially last year, when no trustees went up to the AGM in Edmonton, that it would have been beneficial to have somebody there to run through some of the alternatives that were showing up on the floor. Regional School Council briefly talked about this, and we believe, I guess, there's budget there for the schools to send people up there, and not all schools send people up there, so there should be sufficient budget room for us to send the 2 trustees to Edmonton for the AGM and conference.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments? Trustee Poitras?
Just wondering if we have any parents that are going for sure this year that have committed to that so far.
I have not heard of any. Has anybody heard from any of their school councils if any members are going?
I know that Canyon is considering sending one, and WA Day, I believe a parent is attending the conference, but they are attending virtually. But I don't have either of those confirmed, so those are both just possibilities right now.
Trustee Kimber?
Yeah, I also have 2 possibilities that I know of, nothing confirmed yet.
Okay, seeing none other. Trustee Toon?
Just a question for clarity, because it's not stated in the motion, it just states to cover those expenses. Maybe this is a question for Mr. Perry. Would this automatically come out of the budget that is already set aside if this motion was passed, or would it just come out of regular board operations budget?
Typically, anything that is expended by trustees will come out of the board budget. We don't budget for for every school to send their school council chair, because we've never had that scenario. But typically we have had funds remaining because not every school sends. But in that scenario, I think we've said that up to $500 if there isn't, that many individuals going, then we'll cover more than the $500 costs that are associated with that. So that's how it's currently set up.
Thanks for that clarity. Yeah, I would support it if it didn't mean that we were giving less to the school council members, because I think it's vital that they get supported as much as possible, because we do have PD dollars that we could draw from personally to do this, and that they don't have those resources to do that. So that would be my only comment.
Thank you, Trustee Toon. Trustee Charchin?
I'm just wondering about the need for 2 trustees. Would 1 be sufficient? What is your thinking around that?
Trustee Kimber, did you want to respond to the 2 trustees, or? No? Okay. Someone online has a question. Just hold on one sec. Trustee Long?
Do we know if other boards send trustees to this? Just, it's meant for regional school council members. I'm not sure it's meant for trustees, but I'd like to know if other boards send trustees to it.
Did anyone want to go ahead, Trustee Gimber?
The feedback I got last year was that there was other trustees sitting at tables with the chairs that were up there, and therefore we should have had somebody up there as well.
Trustee Poitras?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to my experience at the ASCA Council. I was on Regional School Council with Chair Hodges for, I believe, 4 years, and we attended every year that we had parents going, and it was always a great experience. One year we had 5 different parents there with us, and we're able to support them at the table. There's lots of things that change on the floor, and so that gives us the ability to have discussions at the table. A lot of the motions sometimes have implications that it seems like a great motion, like, yay, let's support all students to be bused, no matter how far they live from the school. But sitting at the table, then trustees can give a little clarity around how some that may seem beneficial or perhaps to have a negative impact may in fact have the opposite impact in our division. Although this information is also shared at the Regional School Council meeting before the parents are able to go to the ASCA meeting when things are changing on the floor. I don't know if Trustee Hodges or Chair Hodges wants to speak to it at all, but we have been able to be there to discuss it with them and have found it beneficial in the past. Since COVID, however, it's been online until last year, and we didn't have anyone go. It was also always through individual PD that Chair Hodges and I decided as members of Regional School Council that we would use our personal PD funds to go and support parents. So that's just a little background for obviously Trustee Charchin, who hasn't been here for as long, and just to answer Trustee Long's question, other trustees from other divisions do go, and in the past we have, in my opinion, found it to be beneficial.
Thank you, Trustee Poitras. I would love to speak to it, but first, is there anybody else? Trustee Toon?
Thanks, Chair. I do find value in it. I've attended in the past. I think there's some really good discussions that go on there. With Trustee Charchin's comment, it just sparked with the numbers that are possible attending. I do think it might be prudent to have an amendment to one trustee. I think one trustee would more than be able to facilitate discussion with 4 or 3 or however many of those the chairs are going, and it would help with budget constraints. So I would make that amendment to one trustee.
Thank you, Trustee Toon. We have an amendment on the floor that the Board of Trustees approve the registration and travel of Regional School Council for one trustee. Trustee Toon, are you striking out or alternate or leaving alternate in there? Okay, one trustee or alternate. Doesn't, I think just one, to attend the 2024 ASCA conference in AGM in Edmonton. Would anybody like to speak to that? Trustee Poitras?
So just for clarity, will it read that the Board of Trustees approve the registration and travel for one Regional School Council trustee or alternate? So that it's still specifying that it should be a Regional School Council member trustee if possible, or do you just want it to say one?
Trustee Toon?
I think that reads for a trustee or alternate, that we're all alternates on Regional School Council, so it could be any member of the board at that time. But reading that, I think it does give preference to Regional School Council, and I'm not opposed to that, but yeah. I think the board can decide. That language provides, I think, flexibility for any trustee to attend.
Perfect, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Trustee Charchin?
Is this just to the amendment or something else? Okay, I'll wait.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Oh, Trustee Charchin? Yeah, this is around the amendment. If there's no other comments around the amendment, we will vote on it. We'll be voting on the amendment to change that the Board of Trustees approve the registration and travel for the Regional School Council trustee, one trustee or alternate to attend the 2024 ASCA conference in AGM in April 2026 to 28th. Any opposed? Seeing none, that amendment is carried. So now we're back to the motion that reads that the Board of Trustees approve the registration and travel for the Regional School Council one trustee or alternate to attend the 2024 ASCA conference and AGM in Edmonton, April 26 to 28. Any questions or comments? Trustee Charlton.
Do we need anything in there contingent that we have delegates actually attending?
Trustee Poitras.
Yeah, I would recommend that amendment. Sorry, is that me just being too close? That amendment be made that says the Board of Trustees approve the registration and travel for, the registration and travel for one regional school council trustee or alternate to attend the 2024 ASCA conference and AGM in Edmonton, April 26th to 28th, if there are parent delegates registered and attending in person.
So Trustee Poitras, you're making that amendment?
I would make that amendment with Trustee Charlton's support, I assume, but if you want to make that amendment, please go ahead.
Trustee Charlton was good with Trustee Poitras making the amendment. So we have an amendment on the floor, adding if there are parent delegates registered and attending in person. We are speaking just to the amendment now. Any questions or comments? Trustee Long?
As soon as you say, if there are parent delegates, that means 2 or more. Is that the intent, Trustee Poitras?
Trustee Poitras, did you want to answer that or anybody else?
If there is, sorry, I guess the wording would be then, if there is a parent delegate registered and attending in person. Thanks, Trustee Long.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments around that? All right, seeing none. Trustee Poitras, did you want to close on it? Right, no close. And so we'll call the question. We're just voting on the amendment to add if there is a parent delegate registered and attending in person. Any opposed? Seeing none. Now we're back to the motion that reads that the Board of Trustees approve the registration and travel for the Regional School Council, one trustee or alternate to attend the 2024 ASCA conference and AGM in Edmonton, April 26 to 28, if there is a parent delegate registered and attending in person. Any questions or comments? Trustee Poitras?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering if this is only intended for this year. The conversation sounds like this is something that would be beneficial if there are parents attending every year. Is this something that we're just going to do on a yearly basis, or something that's planned on being changed in the Regional School Council terms of reference and request for budget? I just wondered if that was considered, although I'm on that. I'm also on the Regional School Council, so I'm trying to think back, but maybe we can just discuss it here for a minute.
Are you making an amendment at all, or just want to open discussion? Okay, anybody questions or comments around that? Trustee Gimber?
Yeah, I can address that. We did discuss putting a budget together for the different committees at one point during our organizational meeting, but that didn't come to fruition, so that is why this motion specifically for this year has come up. I think it's something we could definitely look at putting in the terms of reference going forward. for this committee specifically, but that's outside of this specific motion.
Thank you, Trustee Gimber. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none? Trustee Poitras?
Is ASCA offering this virtually this year again? I know they had considered maybe not, but did they decide to offer it virtually as well, or just in person?
Trustee Gimber?
That's a good point. I just remembered it is not offered virtually this year. It is only in person.
Thank you. I do remember reading that too on their website. Yep. Any questions around? Any more questions? Comments? Trustee Gimber? Okay. All right, seeing none. Trustee Gimber, would you like to close?
Sure, thank you very much. I think it's really important that we have representation, not just from the board, but also from the school councils up at the AGM. So I want to take this opportunity to stress how important it is that the chairs or a vice chair or whoever from a school council actually tries to make the effort to go up there. And now having a trustee be there alongside them, it should maybe be a little bit less intimidating for them to go. I appreciate your support in this motion. I think it's a way for our councils to have a voice. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gimber. Going to call the question.
Just take a pause for 1 minute.
Sure. Trustee Poitras has asked for a pause. Trustee Toon?
Just a point of order, it does say on their website that it is hybrid. There is an online option this year. I know
thought I read there
previously it
wasn't.
wasn't listed on there, but it's saying that there is now.
They must have changed it.
Yeah, sorry. Also, a point of order. I'm sorry, I should have asked for the pause before the closing, but also, just when we're looking at the motion, you can register for the entire conference, which is the 26th and 27th, and there's the vendors and the classes and everything that you can take, or you can register just for Sunday, April 28th, the AGM, and this doesn't specify it. So just point of order that it doesn't specify that. We need to be aware of it, that there is some room for, oh, it does say April 26th to 28th. Okay, perfect. So that would mean the entire conference. Okay, so ignore my point of order. It does say online or in person.
Thank you. So the question's been called. We're voting on the motion that the Board of Trustees approve the registration and travel for the Regional School Council trustee, one trustee or alternate to attend the 2024 ASCA Conference and AGM in Edmonton 26 to 28, if there's a Paragut delegate registered and attending in person. All in favor, or sorry, any opposed? Seeing none, carried. At this time, we're going to, can I get someone to make a motion to go in camera? E5?
She has to have it added.
That's, oh, it's just a discussion item. I put it under discussion.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yep, so that was, oh, no, sorry, I meant G. You are correct, we did say E5, but it's under, I said discussion, and then you said E5, so I just threw it in there as E5. Sorry, Trustee Chargent, it was just a discussion item that you were wanting, or was it, need a motion around it? Okay, yep, so sorry, that which should be under G4, not under the E5. My bad, I'm very sorry. All right, so we're going to go in camera. Can I get someone to please make the motion to go in camera? Trustee Charchin at 9:41. Can I get everyone to please move to the next room? We do have to vote. Any opposed? Seeing and hearing none? Passed. Trustee Long, Chad, and Clara, I will send you a link for in camera.
I thought she already did. I'm on the other my other computer, so okay, thank you.
Oh, Mr. Clifton, you there, sir?
We are here.
All right. Hey, Griff.
Hey, morning.
Good morning. So we're just taking a bio break real quick here, and Lori will let us know when we're ready to go and share your screen. And good luck. Have fun.
Okay, presentation's ready to go, buddy. I'll go grab a water. How long's the break?
Like a couple minutes.
Okay, perfect.
They wanted to start at 10:30, but yeah. And so again, this will be recorded, and yeah, that's about it. So
Okay,
okay.
awesome. Thanks, man.
Hey, Jay, we can see your email if that's what you want us to look at. There we go. Now I can see your presentation.
All right, I'd like to welcome us back. making the motion. I would like to move that we consider something out of schedule, and we have a timely presentation, so I would like to move us to G2 instead of following G1. Can I get all in favor? Or I should have said opposed, yeah. All right, so we have a timely presentation on our place-based.
Let us know when you guys are ready, Chad.
Chad, you're talking lots.
Will do.
Place-based, we have a presentation from Jason Clifton and Greg, is it Greg? Griffin, sorry. Oh, there it is. Place-based supervisors will present to the Board of Trustees regarding the Livingstone Range School Division's place-based education. So I'd like to turn that over to you two gentlemen.
Hey, awesome. Hi, guys. Hopefully you can see our faces right now. Just wanted to start off by saying thank you for supporting what we're doing at Peaks and supporting place-based learning throughout the division. It's a great opportunity for us as educators and for the students. And I'm hoping during the presentation you can see the types of programs and experiences that the students are getting and understand the value and impact that that place-based learning and Peak specifically is having on the students in the school division. So thank you. So we just have some pictures here of the environmental science trailer, the field science trailer at work. This is the students in Girardi Creek doing a wetland field study and then bringing the invertebrates that they found and looking at them in the microscopes, both the dissection and compound microscopes in the field science trailer. This has become a very popular program at Peaks, just one of the many things that we're able to offer. And both the site and the trailer and the facilities are fantastic for this event. The kids absolutely love it. We have had some staffing changes through Pursuits, with Joel transitioning to his new role at Actua. We've been very fortunate to have Griffin Contini join the LRSD Pursuits team as our new place-based facilitator. And I'm sure that you guys have met Griffin before. Just wanted to do a formal introduction and introduce him to the people that haven't. And he recently finished his Bachelor of Education from the University of Lethbridge with great distinction. And he's got a background in ski patrol, where he's patrolled at Castle Mountain. Now that's equipped Griffin with a high level of first aid certification and proficiency during emergency response situations, which has resulted in increased student safety at Peaks and when we're offsite throughout the division. So it's great to have someone with that, the certifications and the experience that Griff has. My role has also changed. I've taken on the off-campus coordinator role at CCHS and the Careers Next Generation coordinator position at Livingstone Range, as well as a 0.6 at Peaks. So nice variety for myself as well. So just wanted to update you on those changes. Our update on utilization at Peaks remains high, and we're on track to exceed the 2,500 student visits, excluding faces that would bring us over the 3,000 mark, the 3,100 mark that we saw last year. Programming demands in certain demographics and areas have expanded. The colonies have been booking us with increased frequency after coming to one of their staff meetings and promoting Peaks. They really took to that presentation and gave them some good ideas. And so we've been doing a lot of good work with the colonies, Griffin in particular, actually traveling to a lot of the colonies for those colonies that won't travel to us throughout the division and providing programming on site for them, showing the teachers there and the students the type of resources and things that lend themselves well to place-based learning experiences. And we've had great success there. So a lot of demand there. Our out of division bookings, we've only offered 6 days to schools outside of our own school division. To a specific school, Senator Joyce Senator Fairbairn Middle School in Lethbridge, and they've occupied all those days, which is one more day than we offered them last year. We've finally seen an uptick in our international student experiences. I'll talk about those a little more. later in the presentation. We had twice as many homeschool students out to Peaks with Corby the last time he came out, and it was fantastic. And our junior high and senior high programming series, which is where we work with specific schools when they have outdoor pursuits programs or outdoor education programs or field science programs. We work with them repeatedly over a period of time, building up usually to some type of event. That has been growing a lot. We've been seeing a lot more demand, specifically from Livingstone School this year. So that's fantastic. One of our areas of concern is that there's an underutilization that we're seeing from schools from the north. So everything north of Fort McLeod, basically, outside of Granham, which we've been able to do a full school event, full day programming for. We're just not seeing the type of use that we'd like to. With Joelle not being in the north anymore as our place-based supervisor for the north, there's obviously a bit of a vacuum there. And when talking to schools, it looks like travel cost and time is a major factor. So solutions that we've identified to address this problem are to use the new overnight facilities once the new collegiate building is built. That's going to be, I think, a big factor in us overcoming that roadblock. Well, we did visit the Palisades in Jasper, which is fairly remote from Edmonton, but they see a lot of use from Edmonton Public School because they have overnight facilities. It makes it worth the schools traveling out there and gives them enough time as well to actually do some meaningful programming where they're out there. So we think that'll change things a lot. We also need to do a better job in proactively reaching out to the underutilizing schools to provide PD for their teachers, similar to what we did for the colonies. I think once we do that, we'll see the demand rise. And we also need to help teachers plan place-based experiences in their local environments as well. So that's kind of our action plan that we'd like to implement to see that utilization in the north increase. Just wanted to do some pictures. We've been talking a lot here, but good variety of stuff here. So we've got some bug and wetland field study investigation for some students in one of our provincial parks, where we actually did this with Alberta Parks. We've got Bovey Lake. This is one of our colony groups here. You can see Sarah Downey, who runs the educational programming for that particular provincial park. So some of the really interesting stuff we've done there as well: hiking, plant identification, and this is a field science day that we did with the kids, and it was super fun. This picture at the upper right is actually with two classes of grade 2 students, and they came to Peaks, or sorry, grade 3, my mistake. And that was a hearing and sound day. So what you can see is one of the teachers using a decibel meter, and they're actually using a blowhorn to shoot sound through the conduit there, and then they're measuring the decibels, and they're changing the configuration of the conduit and bouncing the sound off of objects to measure the decibels. So a lot of hands-on fun there with another field day of science with the grade 3s. Now I'll get Griffin to take this part here.
Morning, everybody. So yeah, program creation and a website, which have been two really big initiatives for Peaks Campus and Livingstone Range. So some highlights, programs that will be for sure up and running and or kind of have been running are the Trees and Forests program, Winter Ecology Tracks program, and the Animal Corridor. And we get help from the Lethbridge College as far as like bringing like animal hides and skulls and paw prints, and we can talk about that more a bit later. But it's awesome. Canoeing and Bear Smart. So there's more than development as well. They take quite a while to develop, but we're really excited about where it's at. One of the more popular experiences is the West Slope Cutthroat Trout Soapstone Carving Experience. And we will show you kind of how we have built this, kind of what teachers receive to prepare for what they're getting. So well, when they look on our website, they'll get a synopsis. And if they're interested in a program, we will send them a program package. So hopefully,
They'll be able to see it right now. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So as we go through this, we see kind of like what what a soapstone fish would look like, and then the actual West Slope cutthroat, and a table of contents. So they'll have like a pre-field trip summary, field trip summary, program equipment, what they need, kind of what to expect. They'll be given resources as far as pre-experienced materials and to ease lesson planning, so that when we come, there's a very smooth transition into the actual experience itself with so students can have preset knowledge and outcomes are being met as well. Yeah, so they'll get everything they need to know, and vocabulary, for example, a summary of what they're going to go through. I'll try to go through this quick, and we can send this to you guys if you'd like to look at it in more detail. Equipment, because that's super important, especially for resources that are going to be using or programs using tools. Yeah, a presentation. So teachers can give students an idea of what to go through. I got a follow along sheet that kids can color in and get details on. Vocabulary. Crossword puzzle. And the key and learning parts of the fish. So it's one of the goals was to acclimatize and accommodate to various ages and grades. So various outcomes are being met, and it's very adaptable to all divisions, which is great. And then a quiz also. So that's kind of the idea behind this kind of the program package that we deliver, and it's been quite popular. So lots of PAG classes from various schools around the pass. Ticket colonies have been really enjoying the soapstone carving experience, and then we had the homeschool kids actually just do it recently, and they loved it. And yeah, here's an actual picture of a kid who was able to catch the West Slope cutthroat fish. So you can kind of see in the cup out of Girardi Creek. Do you want to talk about it?
Sure. Yeah. So you can see the field science trailer in the background there. So we do teach the kids about this native species, and it's a great jump off point to talk about introduced species as well, and why we want to foster and cultivate our native species. So there's a lot of science outcomes that get covered. But blending the fine arts with it, I think it does add something different. It's cross-curricular and lets different students experience it differently. You can see in that we use this picture just because if you look at the boy's face here as he's looking at the West Slope cutthroat that we've just taught him all about, and he's carved one, and now they're catching it and looking at it under microscopes in the trailer here, you can see the absolute wonder that this student has on his face. And this is when we talk about authentic learning and things that are relevant and meaningful and impactful for students. You can see in this student's face that this program is having that impact, and that's really what is the driving force behind what we're doing. So I just love looking at that picture.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Pretty awesome.
So yeah, we can take a closer look at what's going on at Peaks program development, and we'll take a look at the other big initiatives, which is our website. So I don't know how many of you have seen this or know about it, but this has been very new in development, and hopefully should be released soon. But we'll have a whole about page, as far as we'll have all of these headings, which are filled and whatnot. Our collegiate with the about purpose, courses that are offered, dual credit, how to apply, information about the mobile field study lab, photos and videos, K-12 programming. I'll come back to that actually. Well, I'm just going to keep going along these headings. But adult opportunities, so that's something that Peaks is looking to offer as far as maybe companies getting team building experiences for professional development. That might be another kind of source of revenue to help Peaks out. Something we're still looking into, international experiences, which have actually been very successful, and we'll go over that also. But for now, we have a summer and a winter experience And basically they give an itinerary. I can show you. It's right here. But yeah, experiences, what to expect, and then also how students who go through this program will earn credits in the courses, and then roughly a price. And then there's the flyer. Yeah, we'll show that as well. We'll show that later. And then partnerships, which we'll also talk about later. You guys are getting the full experience in our slideshow. The K-12 programming, we wanted to show you specifically. So we'll have our curricular aligned programs, outdoor experiences, and team building, which are also curricular aligned. Information about land camps, faces, photos and videos, bookings, and how to book if you're from out of division. So if we go to curricular aligned programs, they'll give you an idea of what to expect and what we offer. So most of these courses are in development, but for the ones that we do have on here, the idea is to provide a link to kind of the synopsis. So if you're interested, teachers can go here, press on the link, and it'll come up with the synopsis. So again, like the title page, an introduction about what the courses are, the grades, duration, time of year it's offered, where the fees, contact, and then it also goes to our learning outcomes. So the really important thing, again, like I said earlier, is having our programs accommodate to multiple ages, grades, and divisions. So if we can click on the link, open it, and it will show us outcomes that are multi-curricular. They also include CTF outcomes, but outcomes for visual arts from K to 3, science, and actually, if I get out of this one, if we go to Division 2, we'll start to see that there's also social curricular links as well, or social studies. Yeah. So that's been a really strong driving force for us to, make learning very, as far as like super relevant and cross-curricular, and ensuring teachers are provided with kind of say state-of-the-art learning. And yeah, and here's kind of what, and what to expect from the experience. So you can see there's like all the little fish cut out here. They made where they start and where it kind of finishes. And yeah, that's the idea of our program packages and learning. Right there. Yeah. Well, here we go. Thanks. Yeah. So the website is really big news, and we're really looking forward to getting it out into the public.
Awesome. Okay, as far as professional development, we've been in contact with community experts to help plan and carry out various experiential curriculum connected programs. So those are ones where we'll actually custom tailor stuff to a teacher's specific unit that they're working on. So a teacher can reach out to us at any time from any of the schools and say, I'd like to do a field day or do some place-based programming, and then we actually work with that teacher during planning sessions to build a one-off program for them. So not something that's necessarily listed on the website. It's all custom built and based around what the teachers are currently doing. And we try to connect with community experts for almost every time we do that, actually. We also have been doing full-day staff professional developments for schools. So the most recent one was on January 29th. We collaborated with Leanne Feller to deliver professional development for the staff at ISS. We did a full day at Peaks. Everybody came out to Peaks, and Leanne came out, and we actually, I don't know if this has been done before. We may have been the first school division to do this, but we took the Leader in Me principles, which ISS was already working on prior to Peaks coming into the picture, and we blended it with place-based pedagogy. And we showed how those principles actually can be intertwined or related to, or even synonymous with place-based pedagogy. And then the teachers had some time to actually build some custom programs like what we've been talking about based off of those principles and the resources available at Peaks. And we help them start to build those things. And we've actually had bookings from ISS staff members where we're going to be carrying out those experiences that they built for their students. And so we're pretty excited. We have the first one coming up in March with the both grade 6 classes from ISS. So pretty excited about what's come out of that day. And then, Griff, do you want to talk to the Teton Science School?
Yeah, I actually wanted to mention about the teachers, the grade 6s from ISS. So one will be about the winter tracks and animal corridor, and then they're actually coming back out, I believe, in May for a poetry and they call it PPE, poetry and physical education. It'll be poetry and like we'll take them canoeing and blending natural landscapes and scopes with literacy, which would be really cool.
Yeah, almost like a writer's workshop.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to that. Teton Science School includes today. We are still looking at and working with them and growing place-based pedagogical approaches and strategies, and using those elements in schools and applying those and helping schools with applying those principles. And yeah, we have a meeting about every 2 weeks, I believe.
We actually have one today at 3:45 with Teton Science School.
Yeah,
to continue that work.
Yeah, and it's been good. There's teachers who are slowly kind of fading out of that, and then more of kind of at the stronger administrative, or sorry, not strong, but administrative roles have been taking a larger approach with that and integrating those kind of larger principles within schooling practices. Yeah,
excellent. We've been hosting some ISC day sessions. The last one, actually, we didn't get many people out because the weather, I don't know if you guys can remember, the weather was not great. But we do have one planned for March 15th. And I just wanted to share with you kind of some of what we do for PD. So we're inviting teachers to come explore how to increase student engagement and make learning more relevant by having them out and showing them how to leverage the environment and ecology in and around their communities, to try to like get kids to, I guess, have something to scaffold their learning to that's actually surrounding them. Make it meaningful, make it impactful. During the session, we'll explore examples of how Peaks is leveraging the surrounding land to create curricular connected experiential learning opportunities for students. And then we're going to actually have the teachers explore how they can do this in their own settings and how to blend in outcomes-based learning, leadership, and outward pursuits with those outcome-based teaching sessions to have highly impactful and authentic learning experiences for students. The teachers will get some time to work on some high-level planning that day to plan those events. But we're also going to be taking them into Chinook Lake Provincial Recreation Area to show them one of the areas that we frequent in Peaks. That's where we do our cross-country skiing. And we'll be showing them how we blend different outcomes from the science curriculum or writing curriculum into those pursuits events and how that can create a high level of engagement. So that is going to be our upcoming ISC Day session. And then on February 2nd, Griff, did you want to talk about our Lethbridge?
Yeah, we had a presentation at the U of L, which is like really exciting for us. And we're very, just happy to be, invited to go and present how we have been implementing place-based pedagogical practices around Livingstone Range School Division. And so we presented to fourth year education students. And it was very well received and much interest from not like both students as well as professor. And we also had at that presentation, we had people from Japan, from an exchange school, who had come to watch the presentation. And we'll speak about that as well and the good news that is coming from that. But yeah, it was great, and we were very honored to be there.
Yeah, it really seems like Peaks is starting to get some recognition in different locations. In fact, we've got a meeting today with Mount Royal University about atypical education student practicum placements. So, and then on February 8th and 9th, Sherry Terpstra and myself, we were invited to the Actual National Conference in Ottawa. And it was all regarding our LRSD land camps, which we'll discuss more about. After our presentation, we were invited to work with individual school divisions who are trying to start land camps. And the school divisions were from all over Canada. We had guys from the Maritimes there, and Labrador, and Saskatchewan, British Columbia. And they are all trying to start land camp initiatives, and we just helped them. We shared how we started and the process. And Joelle was actually there. It was a fantastic opportunity to get some recognition for Peaks and show what we're doing in Livingston Range. All right, so with our partnerships, we've got an ever-growing pool of partners who are really committed. Actually, they believe in what we're doing, and each of the logos that we have here for different partnerships, these are all groups that have actually sent people from their organizations to work with me and Griffin, or Joel as well when he was still here, and actually build programming for students. And they've also done direct instruction with students when the students come out to Peaks, and some of them more than others, obviously, but all of these very, very strong partnerships here. So pretty excited about that. The University of Lethbridge supports our land camps. They send people out from destination exploration, and they integrate STEM learning into the land camps, and we try to blend it in with the theme that the elders provide for us and they guide the camps, and then the university comes in and provides STEM that they try to relate to that. The White Bark Pine Ecosystem Foundation, they do the same thing. So we actually have students go out with the scientists that work for the White Bark Pine Ecosystem, and they're finding blister rust resistant trees, and they're caging cones, learning how to identify the trees, learning how to identify blister rust, and learning that science doesn't always happen in a lab. When we're out there, we are in the Rocky Mountains locating these trees in remote areas. So it gives the students a totally different perspective of what science is. We're gratefully appreciative for the scientists that come out to do that with the students, working beside the students. The Hunters Education Instructors Association, I do run Hunters certification courses at Peaks. These have been wildly popular, and they have sent members of their team out to bring pelts and help us with archery and just content delivery in general, just to help us tighten and refine our process there. And they've actually overnighted at Peaks to help us deliver multi-day stuff. We have a day in the creek coming up where 600 students will be in Pincher Creek. It's organized by Waterton Biosphere, and they've asked us to bring the science trailer and run a program there. So we will be running plant identification and wetland field study, I believe, is what they've asked us to do specifically for grade 3. So we're going to be able to showcase the trailer and what we do working with the Waterton Biosphere, and a whole bunch of community groups will be there. Search and Rescue, they've helped us do 3-day programs for Matthew Halton's Experiential Learning Week, which has been fantastic. We're in the process right now working with Pincher Creekers to develop an overnight paddling series that will culminate in a 3-day paddle on the Milk River for high school students. And actually, Griffin's been a big part of planning that one. Fantastic. The Nature Conservancy, we're doing all kinds of stuff with the Nature Conservancy right now. The highest level thing I think we're going to do would be September 16th and 17th. They are reclaiming portions of Leech Collieries, which is just on the way into Crow's Nest Pass. It was disturbed a long time ago during mining efforts. And we are getting our students out there on the land as volunteers, working with the Nature Conservancy and other community groups to actually plant native plants and do some earthworks there in a reclamation effort. And there's reports that the students will be reading about the reclamation prior to going out, and all types of learning that'll happen surrounding the 2 days of volunteering that'll are happening there. So really excited to get the kids out in a volunteer capacity and using the community as a classroom for that one. Crow's Nest Conservation, they've been out to Peaks multiple times talking about land use designations, animal corridors, and the kids learn inside the building about these things. They look at maps, and then we take them out to the places that they've actually seen in the maps, and they get a real world experience in the field, learning about these places and why they're protected and why they're important. So again, it all comes back to that hands-on experiential nature of what we're doing and the relevance. It's been very impactful. And then, of course, Alberta Parks. We showed you the pictures already of our wetland field studies and science field days. We work with them in various parks, Chinook, Beauvais, Castle Wildland area. We've done programs with them in all those areas. So again, high level stuff that to my knowledge isn't happening in other school divisions, and to great benefit of the students. And then our land camps. So you can see here I have this one. It's really a community program. You can see how many different organizations are involved. So Destination Exploration, I already discussed their role. That's University of Lethbridge. Obviously, Peaks is involved. That's where it happens. This logo at the bottom here, this is the White Bark Pine Society. And they're the guys that come out that send the scientists to work with the students and show them how science is done in the field. Actua is the funding body who actually provides the financial support and considerations for everything that happens there. The busing, food, some of the programming costs associated with destination exploration, staffing, and then the honorariums for the elders. So huge contribution from them. And then obviously the staff of Livingstone Range School Division from the various schools that participate. And then here you can see the most important part here is our elders and knowledge keepers. So we've got a good list of elders. We've had each one of the elders will come out for different portions of the camps. It starts with an opening blessing and ceremony, teepee raising, and then traditional teachings throughout, traditional games and storytelling, drumming and song by Jaron Weaselbear, fantastic cooks from the community as well. And they actually teach us about spirit plates and traditional foods while they're there. And then Griffin and mine's role is to follow the lead of the elders and then provide those pursuits activities such as the canoeing, the summit hikes, all those types of things to supplement and build off of the learning and provide that enjoyment piece of the camps. They've been tremendously impactful. And the students or the staff that participate in this, it's an experience that I wish every student in Livingstone Range School Division could have. Absolutely. So here's a picture I took of our teepee, and those poles were harvested in the traditional manner, same with the buttons and the pegs and everything. And this is at Peaks, and you can just see that Peaks is almost custom made, if you will, for an event like this. And what a picturesque place to be and have these traditional teachings happening. It really does add value, I think, to the experience. The location is definitely important. And you can see the canoes there, the paddling is a big part of what we do for those camps as well. And then Griff, do you want to discuss what's happening here?
So this is part of our land camp kids from last May. And we had worked with the White Bark Pine Society. So this is a picture taken on top of Windy Bluff, just about half a kilometer down the road from Peaks. And you oversees Crow's Nest Lake, Emerald Lake. It's beautiful. But other than that, the kids were working on, you can see behind there's a limber pine. There's a lot in that area that's a very populated area for those trees. And there's I believe maybe one of them might be blister rust resistant. Anyways,
that's 1 in 300 chance of that happening. Yeah. And we found one up there, which is now tagged by the scientists from the White Bark Pine Foundation. It's pretty cool.
It's super cool.
The kids were there, so
yeah. But with these trees, though, they're able to take core samples. They're taking data as far as size, weight to the cones,
circumference.
Yeah, that's right. Circumference, the diameter of the tree trunks in themselves, just monitoring kind of the health and where the trees are at, or maybe in a certain type of year, maybe any damages the trees taken from either maybe forest fires or any a dry, like a drought at some point in their lives. You can see that in the core sample. So a really interesting way of getting one real life experience, making the basically course and science material relevant. And the kids are very excited and into it, and they had it's awesome.
And for this experience, you can see the light blue shirts. That's Destination Exploration. We have 3 of their members, and then we also have 3 scientists, field scientists from the White Bark Pine Foundation, plus our LRSD staff. So you can see the amount of support and community support, and the kids can feel it and they know about it. And it's pretty impactful programming. So again, it's something I wish that all the kids could experience, but I'm glad that we're able to reach the students that we do.
As far as partnerships go, continue on that. We have a really big one in the works with Waterton Lakes National Park. And we're just hoping to create more opportunities for students in which kind of they can experience various roles that the parks kind of they have. So basically, experience various initiatives and explore the jobs and positions of various departments. So we're hoping to set up with them, other than volunteer experiences like citizenship science or tree planting or picking up garbage in the park and so on and so forth. They we're hoping to have kind of a practicum experience where kids can sign up almost, and we're trying to make it a dual credit program where students can sign up, go to the parks for about a week. It'd be once a year. They would, at max, they'd be able to do it twice a year, where students can sign up for different positions and they'd experience different jobs and different departments of the park each day. So they get an idea of kind of the as far as various fields go and what you can do, because there's not just environmental science, there's also people working on
Infrastructure improvements, all types
so
of things.
many
Yeah.
things. And energy, like there's a ton, like the solar panels that are out at the parks and running the interpretive center and so on. So it'd be a really wicked experience. We're really hoping that we can make it work.
Yeah. They actually, because Griffin reached out to them, they invited us out and they hosted us for a full day in the park where they toured us around to show us all the different, fields of work that they have out there, and kind of brainstorming ideas and stuff. They are very interested in making this happen. They see the value of what they're doing, and the guy that works for Parks that was touring us around said multiple times, "I wish they had this when I was a kid." And even just leveraging, a national park that falls within the borders of our school division, what a resource. And the fact that Parks is willing to work with us, again, that community support to build those relevant, they're just top-notch learning experience for the kids. And I don't see this happening in other school divisions. I think it's amazing.
We're really trying to make the community our classroom.
And then obviously our partnership with Lethbridge College, that's one of our biggest partners. This is the impetus behind the collegiate push that we're making, and what's all the great things that are happening as we blossom into this full-blown collegiate status school that will become Peaks. So I did want to give a more in-depth update on the collegiate, but we are going to be running out of time. One thing I think that's really interesting that's happening right now is we've been tasked with finding resources and figuring out how we're going to approach getting some renewable energy added to the site as we build the new building. We obviously, environmental science, we want to make sure that our building is kind of a model for what we can achieve and what the ideal energy efficient school building or science center would look like. So we had the owner and operator of Massive Energy. He's also the lead project developer for renewable energy at Pincher Creek, and he's on the Renewables Future Lab board. It's Tristan Walker, and he was able to provide this report for us, which actually talks about how the building itself. He visited the site. He's seen what we kind of have planned out there. And you can see he's talking about different ways to make the building more energy efficient. But one of the most interesting parts in here is actually the section that he has on students coming in and measuring the production of renewable energy. That's one of his big recommendations, is that we actually build programming for the students to learn. I'll close out of that. So measuring the production in kilowatts of what our solar panels are generating, or measure the reduction of CO2 that's released because we're getting rid of a bunch of the fossil fuels and the combustion on site. And he was showing us how we could actually build programs right around the renewables and energy use. So that's a whole nother branch of programming that we can build. And all this is made possible because we're moving towards a collegiate. So we've also been in talks with Energy Smart about designing the renewables out there and what we can do with the building. And then once we have kind of an idea of cost and what equipment we need to install to be as energy efficient as possible, then we're going to go out and try to find funding dollars to support this initiative. And I don't think that one's going to be hard to find dollars for. I think we should be able to find corporate sponsors and get some backing to make that happen. I hope to see a lot of solar panels and geothermal out there. And then Kirby Dietz has been hard at work building our junior high environmental science courses, which he's offering. I've been working with Kirby, and I connected Kirby with the Nature Conservancy and the Old Man Watershed Society, who does educational work. And we have 2 full day field experience days planned for Kirby students. Our first meeting to plan those with Nature Conservancy, Kirby and myself and Griffin will be March 1st, which is actually rapidly approaching. And so again, we're going to be building something totally unique, one of a kind, and in collaboration with our partner, with our community partners. So really excited about what's in store for the future of the collegiate. I think the opportunities there to study land and energy and all types of environmental science is pretty fantastic. And then our out of division bookings, we did open up 6 days only, with our utilization being so high. We didn't want to have too many days booked up out of school division, but we chose a school that had a dedicated outdoor ed program that was really successful because we wanted to work with people that were already doing it at high level. And we invited them to book 6 days. Each day that they come out with 2 junior high classes. So it's usually around 50 students. And they do pay us per student to provide programming for them. They send staff as well. And it's been very well received. So in principle, we could open up to more days if we wanted to. But I think, we have to weigh our priorities here. Do we want to spend more time in this type of an initiative? Is it worth it? There are so many things that we're working on right now. We really have to prioritize and decide. But just seeing that it is possible, and the feedback that we've gotten from parents and staff at the school and the students is that they absolutely love it. And if more days become available, let them know. They will book it. So that's just one school in Lethbridge. So you can imagine if we open it up to other schools in Lethbridge or other school divisions, what we'd be looking at. Okay, Griff, do you want to talk about this?
So just to list a few of our international experience. So we had Alberta Education asked us to host a German exchange students in last September.
Chad's saying we're a little over. We got to hurry.
Okay. Palliser School Division, which we hosted a Spanish exchange program in October 2023. And they've asked us to host again, which is awesome. And then the big news as far as coming up in the end of June after school's done and then into July is hosting a Japanese exchange for a 12-day experiential learning program, which is super exciting.
So that's our full, we've been trying to promote these for a while. This is our first full-length camp that we have in the books, and pretty excited about it. And I think it's taken a while to get going, but we really are starting to see some traction. We're in talks with Palliser School Division and the International Exchange Program at Alberta Education about providing more camps, and we've just started to receive interest in our winter experience. And so here's just some pictures of the students. Again, we're leveraging Waterton, so you can see them at Waterton here. And here we are actually at Crow's Nest Lake. And what a beautiful spot for these students to come and experience the Canadian Rocky Mountains. And I don't want to say it's easy for us to provide these, but because we're doing all these other things with our own students and developing these programs, we're really positioned well to offer these programs. I'd really like to see these grow, and I think we're going to see success here. It has taken a little more time than what we wanted, but we do have multiple initiatives happening simultaneously. But as we focus on this, I think we could really grow this and get the word out for what we're doing at Peaks.
Sorry to interrupt, Jason.
I was going to show you some of the promotional material that
Mr. Clifton, sorry to interrupt.
I think we better.
I just had a question for you on your 12-day, sorry, I'll try and speak up, on the 12-day Japanese exchange program. How many students will come for that? And is that something that will happen? I saw it was June and July. Will that run alongside FACES, or does it happen before FACES starts? And like, what kind of experience will they be having there? Will they be staying on the land as well, like they do for FACES, and doing outdoor experiences? Or what does that kind of look like? Just quickly, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad you asked. We're super excited about this. So, no, we've been asked not to stay overnight at the site while FACES is running, and we want to respect that. FACES is a flagship program. And so we've actually been working with Castle Mountain, and they've invited us to stay there. And we do use Castle Mountain quite frequently. They have a facility there. They've given us a great rate for us to use, and there's a kitchen there and stuff. So it's actually works beautifully. FACES can occupy Peaks at that time. We can come and go from Peaks during the day, but during the evening and the cooking facilities, they definitely need those facilities to themselves. So we actually I'm gonna show you what it is, because I think it's important for you guys to understand what it looks like. And this is the PowerPoint I created just to share with the administrators at the Japanese private school. So for them, it's actually an 11-day experience with 1 day of travel for a total of 12 days, but it's based on 3 things: visiting places, and all the places we're visiting actually are in Livingstone Range School Division. So Chinook Lake Provincial Park, Castle Provincial Park, Waterton, Beauvais Provincial Park, and then a historic mine tour and stuff in Crow's Nest Pass, the Frank Slide. So really leveraging the amazing places that we have in Livingstone Range to give these students an experience that they're never going to forget. And then, of course, relying on the outdoor activities. Both Griff and I are certified paddle instructors, so we'll be paddling at multiple different lakes, different locations, summit hikes. And then we're going to provide 3 Alberta high school credits as well. And so here it talks a little bit about the places that we're going to visit during the camp. And there's more than what we've listed here, but I think getting to the parks, the 4 main parks in Livingstone Range, in the west of Livingstone Range, is important. This is where we stay. This is the Castle Mountain Hostel. So our rate from these guys is $28 per student per night, and that provides us full use of the facilities and beds here. There is a kitchen here. So it has been a fantastic alternate spot for when Peaks is booked. And then the different areas that we actually hike to and stuff. You can see Hag Lake, Castle River, Beauvais Lake Provincial Park. Amazing spot to visit for plant identification. Great fishing, great paddling. We do some of our paddling there as well.
Wetland field study too.
Yeah, we do a wetland field study there. The Mount Blackstone hike. We've got Chinook Lake Provincial Park. We do all kinds of programming in there. We usually have a barbecue and games for the kids there as well. And then Waterton Lakes, they get a 2-day experience. We do camp in the park overnight in the national national campground there, and we do a boat tour as well. And then, of course, the hiking, kayaking, canoeing, camping, swimming, outdoor games, the charter boat tour, and then the programming runs right into the evening with games, evening disc golf, evening soccer. We select a few different movies to watch. And then there's just pictures of the different activities. That most of this stuff was stuff I did with Alberta Wilderness Academy. So we're just building off of that program that already pre-existed. And then I do also have a winter experience as well, where they stay in this building in downtown Coleman. It's kind of a historic building, and it's actually a learn to ski. So most of their skiing happens at past Powder Keg, then Castle Mountain, some cross-country skiing in Allison Chinook Trails. These are some of our international students that were in Ski Academy, but more international students at Ski Academy, and just kind of the snowshoeing, stargazing, some traditional stories from Jaron Weaselbear. So we have a pretty in-depth itinerary that we've built for these programs. I'm pretty proud of what we built. I think as we start to deliver the full day experiences, the word will get out. Alberta Education has already reached out to us for a second year to provide a shorter camp. We did 2 in September last year. They're looking for 2 again this year. And I imagine this is just going to grow. We just have such awesome facilities, programming, and locations that I think we're in a great position here. We better wrap up real quick, but I do want to let you guys know that over the Christmas break and early January, Chad and I and some professors and researchers from the University of Lethbridge, we did author a proposal for some research funds through Alberta Education. It would, if we're successful, it'll give us a 2.5-year research project in collaboration with the University of Lethbridge. It will all be publishable. Ethical and privacy of information review will ensure that all research and resulting data is handled with the utmost confidentiality and fidelity with best practice methodology. But what could result is that we're able to demonstrate that what we're doing in Livingston Range, specifically place-based learning and these different programs, actually have an impact on student wellness. I already know that they do. I know that they change the relationship between the teacher and the students, and they build memories, and they make learning more relevant and impactful. But now we can demonstrate it with data, which I think is something that, Chad's been pushing me to do this, and it's tough for me to get to this point when I'm providing programming and there's all the moving parts and communication and everything that happens. But now with Griffin here and the university stepping up, I really hope we get this, because this will really substantiate that we're on the right path and that what we're doing is right. So I'm excited about this. Do you guys want us to wrap up, or should we keep going? I know we're already blew way past our time.
Yeah, if you could just
There's
kind of
just
wrap
one
up.
more thing we were going to talk about.
Yeah, just one more quick thing, and then, we'll just have to wrap up a little bit here. And I know Greg has his hand up for a question too.
Might got cut off. Oh,
No, you're still there.
should we keep going, Chad, or do you want us to stop? I just looked at the time here.
So
Can
many
you
interesting
can you hear me,
things.
Jason?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so if you guys could just, wrap up a little bit, your last sort of comments, and then I know that there's just a question out there too.
Sure. Okay. Well, we'll just wrap up then. We won't keep going through the programs and stuff, but we just wanted to say thank you for making this initiative, for giving this opportunity to the students. I feel super lucky to be part of this, and it's kind of why I got into education in the first place. So thank you.
Truly. Yeah, thank you so much. I do really feel that's why I got into education, providing what we think education should be and making it so just relevant and what's the word I'm looking for is so extremely meaningful. Yeah. And so, yeah, thank you.
Thank you both. Greg, you have a quick question?
Yeah, I do. Jason, have you presented to Crow's Pass and Pincher Creek Town Councils?
No.
It seems to me that this is a great presentation for both town councils.
That's a great suggestion. Yeah, we can do that.
Sure.
Yeah, there's lots that they need to know and lots that we might gain from doing such a presentation.
It's a good point. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you all very much for joining us today, Jason and Griffin. When Jason asked if you could have a little bit more time than 15 minutes, you can obviously see why. You could talk about this all day. You guys are doing amazing work and ongoing work, and it is absolutely great. Thank you so much for coming here today and sharing everything, well, mostly everything, of what's going on. And so we look forward to hearing more presentations from you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you, Nikki.
All right, everyone, we'll move back onto an order of our agenda items. We have, sorry, Mr. Perry?
Can I just, wow, that's loud now. Can I just add something, which is something outside of what they do, but one of the things that we are always looking to is making this program self-sustaining. And they talked about the programming and how passionate they are and the relevance of the learning and so forth. But at the same time, we want to ensure people know that the programming that we provide out there is self-sustaining and that it's not pulling from the other resources within the division for, you know, your regular school programming. That's one of the reasons why they're excited about the international programming. It's a way of not only covering the costs associated with the program that they're offering, but it also brings revenue into the jurisdiction to allow us to maintain program and make ourselves self-sustaining on that site. So I think that's a really important point. I didn't want to interrupt and take away from all the great things that they were doing, but from a financial perspective, we're always ensuring that we make sure that we are covering the costs associated with these things and bringing dollars in to be able to offer these types of things for our own students within Livingstone Range School Division. So I just thought that was an important point that I would add.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. You are right. Trustee Poitras?
Thank you. I also just wanted to, before our presentation, we were in camera, and I was wondering if we could add an item to the agenda, a motion that's been sent into Nikki arriving, or from out of, arising.
Arising.
It's arriving from out of Canada. No, it's arising from out of camera. I was wondering if we could add that to the agenda.
Yes, since it's a motion, we will make it,
E5.
yeah. Yeah, we'll make it E5. So we'll go back in our agenda here and and finish up our, and so the arising recommendation from in camera moves that the Board of Trustees accept the recent offer to purchase LRSD 2024-001 received for the Claresholm Division Office Facility and lands contingent upon ministerial approval to the disposal of said real property. Trustee Poitras, you made that motion. Did you want to speak to it?
Sure. Yeah, so we were able to get an update in camera today. We've had this building for sale for a number of years, and as we have a current offer on the table that the trustees, if the trustees feel it's appropriate, that we would pass this motion to send it to the minister.
Thank you, Trustee Poitras. Any questions or comments? Trustee Toon?
Yeah, excuse me, thank you. Is there any, the motion doesn't say when the final date is of the said offer and process? I think that might be something to add in for transparency so the public knows when the proposed end date of the process would be, and I'd make that amendment if Mr. Perry could provide what date would be appropriate to put in there.
The only challenge I have is I'm not sure what date it'll take the minister to be able to approve the thing. So we would have to make sure that the current offer is adjusted to meet the need of the minister. Their time frame is unknown as far as when it could be completed.
Yeah, I know that's one of the big unknowns for me. It's more when the purchaser and our requirements will be met, because the minister, when that happens, when it happens, but it is their date that would be put out there pending, because it does say in there pending ministerial approval. A date doesn't preclude that from still taking whatever amount of time that it is. So, and sorry, and that way for me also, it shows the minister that the timeline that we are working on.
Okay, so the proposed offer date is the possession of April 12th. Is that the date you're looking for?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, like a possession date.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, so the possession date is proposed as being April 12th. We'll try and get the minister to review and approve within that timeframe. And if so, then it would move forward as such.
Okay, we have an amendment on the floor that will speak to just the amendment, that the proposed possession date of April 12th be added to the motion. Any questions or comments around that? Trustee Poitras?
Yeah, I appreciate the intent for transparency. I think we've all had different dealings with buying real estate and going through the process of financing and stuff. So for me personally, I would be against this amendment because I think that, those details are things that might have to be, extensions granted or things like that. That happens occasionally, and I would hate for our motion to put parameters around the deal that then hold it up and need to come back maybe after ministerial approval, but there's something else that needs more time. So for me, as a board member, I think having this motion saying that we have an offer, we're sending it to the minister for approval, and leaving those other details to our administrators allows for them to not have to potentially bring it back here if something goes askew. So for me, I would be against this amendment.
Thank you, Trustee Poitras. We're just speaking to the amendment. Trustee Toon?
Yeah, I think that this is crucial because this is part of the offer, excuse me, and it provides transparency to the community. If there was an extension needed, I think that's a transparent motion to have. If it was a extension that was 6 months or a year in advance, I think that is another discussion that the board needs to have on it if we approve of that amount of time. I don't think that it'll be that, but I just want this process to be as transparent as possible.
Thank you, Trustee Toon. Any other comments? Trustee Charchin?
I think this question is probably for Mr. Perry. Should this not happen by April 12th, what implications would that have in the process?
All right. Okay, okay, we got it. All right. Well, outside the offer is for that particular time frame. We would have the ability to do an extension. If it gets to the April 12th, then we would have to go to the party that's providing the offer and see if they would have, if they would be willing to extend beyond that. So, I mean, but it would mean coming to the board as well, right? If it goes beyond the 12th, we'd have to come to the board for an additional motion, and we'd have to go back and see if the time frame works for the party.
Trustee Charchin, and I think there was...
So the party interested would have the opportunity to back out at that time if we don't meet that deadline?
Yeah, if we don't meet the deadline by the 12th, and they actually, the deadline is possession date. We know that there'll be likely another date for other conditions, but yeah, we would potentially make a date earlier than that to meet all the criteria as far as the conditions, so that possession date could occur. But those details have to be worked out yet. So.
Thank you, Trustee Charchin. Trustee Long?
Yes, you partly answered my question, which is related to this. Is it possible we would aggravate the buyer in any way and affect this offer in a negative way if we put through this amendment?
Trustee Kimber, were you wanting to answer that question, or? Okay. Okay. Is there anyone wanting to answer that question? Mr. Perry?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say for sure whether it would negatively impact it or not. So, I mean, I won't put out there that it will or will not. But it would just mean that we would have to come back to the board to further make any adjustments to the proposal or the offer and the possession date if in the event the minister does not meet that timeline. So it could have an effect that timing isn't as quick because we need to come back to the board, but I think that's all I could really say.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Trustee Gimber?
Thank you. The wording that we have there says it should say possession, Nikki. Proposed possession date of April 12th. It says proposed. So to me, that kind of leaves it open while still providing the transparency that Trustee Toon is looking for. So I don't see that wording tying our hands to April 12th.
Thank you, Trustee Gimber. Trustee Long, do you have your hand up again?
Yeah, I would have voted against this amendment. We've been working on selling this property for years, and it just seems like, once again, we are trying to postpone it, and I really can't understand the rationale behind it.
Thank you, Trustee Long. Any other questions or comments? No? Myself off. All right, we are just we're going to just be voting on the amendment now. So the amendment is to add in proposed possession date of April 12th to the above motion. Trustee Toon, did you want to close?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate the discussion. I don't think that this is onerous. This doesn't create a huge burden for administration. It provides the transparency to the community and for the division at large. I know particularly Claresholm will be interested in what is happening. And at the same time, I agree with Trustee Gimmer, the proposed possession helps provide flexibility in there, but the expectation would that this would be coming back if there was any huge issues with that, no matter if this amendment passes through or not. So I don't think that this slows down the process, hurts it in any way, and I'd ask for support in this amendment.
Thank you. I'm going to call the question. I'm only going to ask if any are opposed. It's defeated. Now, we are now back to the main motion. That the Board of Trustees accept the recent offer to purchase LRSD 2024-001 received for the Claresholm Division Office Facility and lands contingent upon ministerial approval to dispose of the said real property. Any questions or comments? Trustee Toon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really appreciate the work that administration has done with this. It was mentioned that this property has been for sale for multiple years, and we know that we're anxious to get a sale on this property. With any of these situations, it's always challenging because the presentation happens in camera for a good reason, and then we come out here and debate. But for me personally, I can't support this motion. I think that we need to consider what's best for the division and the needs of community use, and that there's nothing against this, but I know that supporting post-secondary and higher education, I think, is something that we should be striving for in our community, and I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you, Trustee Toon. Trustee Poitras?
Thank you, Trustee Toon. I appreciate that, and I always want to make sure that I'm making the most informed decision. So when I'm looking at this proposal and I see that, it's dollars coming into our division sooner rather than later, and that it is, going to be used to support the community and specifically youth in the community, I'd like to understand better why you would be against this proposal so that I'm making the most informed decision, because what you're saying is it should support education and youth in the community and better our students, which bringing more dollars into the division seems to be better for our students. So can you help me understand just how not accepting this offer would be better for the community, or if you don't feel you can speak to it, that's understandable as well.
It's challenging because it was referenced sooner than later. There isn't other additional information that is public that we can speak to on this. So we're caught in a hard place when we're debating something and we all have additional information that can't be shared publicly. So I don't want to delve further into that, but I just would say that just as a general statement that I believe anything we can do to support post-secondary learning in our communities, I think we need to do that because that's the mandate of a school board, is support community learning, whether it's our students or our communities, and anything we can do to facilitate that, I think mitigates the, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to get myself into trouble.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Trustee Charchin?
I think a part of the consideration of the sale of this property is also financial. It's costing the district money to keep it, to have ownership over it each month for the upkeep and utilities and such. And so from a financial perspective, I think it's something we should seriously consider. It seems to be a good offer. It is an offer, and it's been a lot of years. And I would ask that you consider that piece of it as you are making your vote.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Trustee Gimber?
I think that in discussions that we've had, I've made my position clear in camera, and I will not be voting in favor of this.
Thank you. Trustee Yeages?
Yes, I agree with Trustee Turton that the financial part of it is important because we look very much at our finances and we have had this for a long period of time. So I am very much in favor of this proposal.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Long?
I would ask that this vote be recorded.
Thank you. A request for the vote to be recorded from Mr. Long. Trustee Toon?
Yeah, and just remind that we've had support from the mayor and town council of Claresholm, and I don't think that that should be taken lightly or ignored.
Trustee Poitras?
Sorry, we've had support for mayor and town council from Claresholm for the sale of this property. They are supporting us selling this property.
Yes, I can't go any further because it was in camera information.
Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'd love to hear the chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've had this building for a very long time. We've been waiting for an ideal offer to come in. I think that having the money to support all of Livingston Range students is always a benefit. I am in favor of this motion. I do like to support community where possible, but if we can support all our children in Livingston Range, I'm also for that. So although it can be a hard decision, I am in favor of this motion. Trustee Poitras, did you want to close?
I'd love to close. I think this is a very exciting time. We've had this building for a lot of years. Upkeep is expensive on it. And so I think that we have a reasonable offer on the table, and I'm glad that we have support from the town and town council and Claresholm about selling this building. I think I know what you're referring to, but yeah, we need to sell this building, and we need to do what's best for our students in Livingston Range. And even the sale of this building now is going to support youth as we understand it. So I ask everyone to consider that when you're voting. Thanks.
All right, I'm going to call the question. Any opposed? Motion carried. Yeah.
May
Nikki,
the
did you get
people
it?
who are online know who is opposed.
Could you see us at all? Okay, so Trustee Gimber and Trustee Toon were opposed. All right, thanks, everyone. We will now move back into our discussion items. We'll move on to discussion item G1, our projected enrollment numbers. Jeff Perry, Associate Superintendent of Business Services, will review the projected enrollment numbers for the process for gathering the projections and any relevant trends for the 2024-2025 school year. Mr. Perry.
Okay. Nikki, will you be bringing that up on the screen? Okay. So this is the document that we typically bring forward to the trustees, just to give an indication of where our projected enrollment is. Now, I, again, caution that this is a projection in January for September of the following school year. So there will be ups and downs depending on families moving in, moving out. And our administrators do the best that they can, but won't have a certain indication in one way or the other. So they take into account the information that they have available to them at the time that they're making these projections. And this projections is required in order for the Alberta Education to quantify what our funding will be going forward when they make the announcement here at the latter part of February. It's important to note that mid-year our budget is adjusted so that we, to actual. And so from a financial perspective, we have to record what is owing or what is not owing. And so it gets financially recorded in the year that we receive it. So, okay. So the enrollment projections are actually very close to what our prior year numbers, when I say prior year, I'm talking the year that we're currently in, so 2023-24. There's a little bit of a shift, but not significantly with regards to what that looks like. So when we look at overall, our total FTE, column 4, which says difference, down towards the bottom where it says 1.1, that's the difference in FTE that we anticipate from what we're currently at. Within schools, colonies, outreaches, and our international students, we anticipate being 8 down, but we make that up in our virtual school with an increase in home education and virtual of 9 students is what the projection identifies. So this document identifies by community and then by school as well. The regular projected, which is the yellow heading, is what the projection is, and then the next column to that is the prior year, which is the current year we're in. So you can see by school what the projections are. In most cases, it's, for example, Alberta, or AB Daily is down by 10.5 students. The class leaving AB Daily is larger than the class coming in from kindergarten into grade 1. And then there's a few students, it's hard for them to project how many ECS. They're typically projecting a little bit lower. In this case, there's significantly lower in the ECS area, which ends up with a -10. But you can see JT Foster makes that up with the number of kids coming in is greater than the number of students that are leaving. For Claresholm, The overall Claris home is down by 11 and a half students. Again, it's the same. Willow Creek has got a large class leaving, and the students coming in from West Meadow is lower, whereas West Meadow anticipates being around the same as where they were in this year. Granum anticipates 3 more. Since these projections, there's been some discussion that it might be even a little bit higher than that, so that's good news for Granum. Fort McLeod is fairly balanced. Again, the students leaving grade 5 and going into the high school are greater than what is coming in from the ECS, but that's basically where they're at. Pincher Creek is our community that identifies as having the the greatest change, and the majority of that is again the same rationale: more students leaving versus more students coming in. Livingston is very close. Crow's Nest pass in total is higher. There's a few more anticipated students in that area. Outreach is very similar. Colonies is similar, but we do know in the colony schools that we potentially have some colonies that are splitting, and the timing of that it is not always certain, and so that may affect that in the future. International students, we anticipate, we project the same, so it's not different because we don't entirely know what the enrollment will be at the beginning of the year, but we anticipate that it'll be that level, if not a little bit higher than that. So home education is very similar to what we've experienced this year, and we're up about anticipating 8 students in the virtual school, which is basically your grade 8s and 9s coming into the high school. So overall, very close to what we have in the current year. You can look at the head count down in the bottom. So that's FTE, where we take into account that ECS is 0.5, where home education is 0.25, and everything else is considered 1 FTE. When you look at head count, overall head count, we anticipate being down by 8 students, down 22 in our ECS programming. Again, that's the most challenging area to project, and so they tend to be conservative. And then the other areas you can see up 3 head count in grades 1 to 12, up 10 in grades 1 to 12 virtual, and home education up 1 student. So very similar to what we are experiencing this year, not a significant growth or decline, other than a couple of areas, which is made up in some of the other areas. So I'll leave it with that. If there's any questions that you might have, that's projection again. That's early January for September projections.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. Does anyone have any questions around that? Nope. Thank you. All righty, we'll move on to G3, our Nanton update. The Nanton School Advisory Chair will update the Board of Trustees on Nanton schools. Mr. Toon?
Thank you, Chair. Just pull up the report. First off, I want to thank all the community members who attended the public feedback night that was held on February 8th. We had approximately 70 community members, parents, students, and staff attended the Nanton Schools engagement session. Stakeholders saw the drawings from the proposed new elementary school and modernized high school presented by our architects. Participants provided feedback about the design drawings, which focused on parking lots and traffic safety, storage, learning common spaces, bathroom locations and design, music class space, breakout rooms, and outdoor recreation. This feedback will be considered by Livingstone Range and the architects in developing the final plans for the 2 schools. I just want to again thank our administration for all the work that they've done on this. The timelines have been short with all the meetings and the engagement, and they've done a phenomenal job. And just ask if there's any other things to share from the committee members or questions.
Thank you, Mr. Toon. Any other comments from the other committee members or questions? Did you say it?
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Trustee Toon. We'll now move on to G4, which Trustee Charchin is asked to pull the Granum committee report. Would you like to speak to that, Trustee Charchin?
I would, thank you. Just an update, continuing the work that has started in December of 2022, where the Board of Trustees and senior admin have been working with the Grantham School community to address the issues of declining enrollment and school sustainability. So just wanted to share with everyone the next step. Tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock, will be Superintendent Seguin, I believe, will be sharing information around and plans around a 4-day school week at Grantham as a potential next step. We'll be talking about the logistics and advantages of it for an opportunity for stakeholders to ask questions and seek more information. So we invite all staff, parents, interested community members to join us tomorrow, Tuesday, February 27th at 7 o'clock at the school. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Charchin. Any questions or comments around that? Alrighty, seeing none, thank you. All right, we'll now move on to our key messages. Key messages from today's meeting. Trustee Poitras?
I would recommend highlighting the place-based education and maybe sharing a link to the slideshow and some of that information, as it would be a lot to share, but there's a lot of very exciting things going on through Peaks and throughout the division, and I think sharing that information with our school councils, it would be beneficial.
Thank you. Trustee Gimber?
Thank you. I would like the ASCA AGM, specifically adding in the Regional School Council meeting that is on March 12th, making sure that everybody's reminded of that, as well as the ability for school councils to send people up to the AGM.
Perfect, thank you. Anything else? We have room for one more.
Yeah, can we go public with the land offer, as we just discussed it publicly?
Yeah. And then we can share the motion, but that's about it. We're waiting for ministerial approval.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else? All righty, we have our 3 key messages. Was there any potential press release items from today's meeting? Okay, hearing none. A recommendation that the Board of Trustees vote in favor of the meeting being adjourned. Can I get someone to make that motion? Trustee Charchin at 12:02. All right. All in favor or opposed? Sorry, I can't see anybody. I keep forgetting to do that part. That's what I thought. Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. We're good. All right, everybody, we're going to